Hi, Stacey. How are you?
I am well. How are you, Seth?
I'm doing very well. We last spoke here in the studio in February, the night of the New Hampshire primary. Certainly a lot has changed since then.
We still have a country, though.
Yeah, you know what? It was a coin flip for a while, but we still have a country. And certainly one of the most important things to a country like this is everyone's free and fair right to vote. You made a documentary about voter suppression over the years, up to and including your gubernatorial election in Georgia in 2018. Was this something that you ever saw yourself doing, making a documentary?
No, not at all. I had actually been approached by a few filmmakers who were interested in doing a documentary about the 2018 election. I was there. I had no interest in reliving it, but it gave me the idea of doing a documentary that didn't focus on me as a politician, but really focused on the voters and understanding the history of voter suppression so we could understand its current impact and we could mitigate its future effect. And so I actually went shopping. I found an amazing producer / filmmaking partner in Liz Garbus and Dan Kogan. They brought on board Lisa Cortez. I got out of the way and they made this extraordinary documentary, and they tricked me into being in it anyway, but I think they did a great job.
One of the things the documentary tries to lay out is that what happened in 2018, what's happening now, this is not new. A lot of it was born out of Jim Crow. Did you find that this was something people were educated about, or do you think it was new to a lot of people?
I think it's not only new, but it's necessary reconnection in the sort of DNA of America. We had to understand that voter suppression was baked into how our country was started. But what really cemented it for me was a conversation with one of my young staffers. We were talking after the 2018 election about what had happened, and we were talking about what was going on in Florida with Desmond Meade and his attempt to restore voting rights for ex-offenders and returning citizens. And she said, well, why do they keep using the phrase poll tax? Isn't there a sexier way to describe it? And it hit me like a ton of bricks. She had no idea that poll taxes were legitimately taxes that were imposed on others. And the more we talked, the more I remembered, I'm the daughter of civil rights activists. If you're a millennial, if you are a Gen Z, you've only ever lived with the Voting Rights Act being in place. And you may have seen Eyes on the Prize in class, but you haven't really been steeped in the story of how hard it has been to first expand the right to vote and now to defend it.
You mentioned, obviously, your parents helped connect you to the history, but it seems that you have always been pretty connected to the history, up to and including you spoke at the 30th anniversary of the March on Washington. That is, you're only 19 years old. I imagine at that age, at any age, there's a lot of pressure at a speaking engagement like that. How did it feel?
I don't remember it. I'm fairly certain I blanked out. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so I remember getting out of the car, going, through the process, getting up there, and I looked out over the reflecting pool and saw all of those thousands of people, and then I remember being done. My mom actually called. We talked that night. This was before cell phones, so I had to wait till I got back to the hotel and call her from a landline. And she said, "How did it go?" I'm like, "I don't know. I don't remember. I just remember there being a lot of people there." So.
Well, trial by fire. It's very important, obviously, early on to learn what it's like being in front of a group of people. Obviously, a lot of people are talking about how this election will be conducted, the level of fairness involved. It seems like the president is doing a lot of work to sow doubt about things like mail-in voting, obviously making it harder for the post office to do their job. Do you feel as though people should be panicked, or do you think there's a way to approach this in the coming month and a half to make sure that we do have a fair election?
We can do nothing about the imposter in chief that sits in the White House. We can't control what he says or what he does, but we can control our response and our power. And so first, don't panic. We know they're going to keep doing things. We know that he is going to try his best to bully and cheat us out of an election, but it can't work if we do our part. So first, don't panic, because when we panic, we miss things and we make mistakes. Number two, make a plan to vote and make it early. In 80% of the states in our country, you can vote by mail with no excuses, and you can start applying for it now. We have this amazing website called allinforvoting.com. It's a project that we did through the film and in partnership with Amazon. It is an amazing set of resources and tools. You can do everything from register to get your vote by mail application, to find out your early voting rules and your polling location. So plan to vote by mail. If that doesn't work, plan to vote early in person. And if that doesn't work, have a backup to your backup plan and know where to go and vote on election day. So 1, don't panic. 2, make a plan to vote early. And 3, don't do it alone. We need to make certain that everyone we know has a plan to vote, that they tell you what it is. Don't let them say, oh yeah, I'm going to make my plan. Make them tell you what it is, make them write it down. Because if we can overwhelm the system with our presence, we will win.
Obviously you had a very close election in 2018. There's a chance that maybe all of a sudden, Georgia is a swing state. How are you feeling about Vice President Biden's chances as we're, 40 some days out?
I think he can win here. We've got 16 electoral votes we're willing to send his way. We've got 2 Senate seats that are up for grabs. Jon Ossoff running against David Perdue. Raphael Warnock running against Kelly Loeffler. And with the right investment and the right turnout, we can pull both of those Senate seats over into the Democratic column. We can also send Lucy McBath back and send her a friend in Carolyn Bourdeaux in the 7th. And we can flip 16 House seats and take the House for Democrats. These are all within reach because in 2018, without trying, we flipped 16 seats in the General Assembly. We can do it again. We're a narrow state. It's a very close election. And with the Secretary of State controlling everything, he barely eked out a 55,000 vote victory. We've had 750,000 new people register to vote since 2018. 45% are under the age of 30, 49% are people of color, and we've got really good progressive white folks in the state of Georgia joining together, and we have the ability to win this election and deliver Georgia as a blue state.
That's certainly nice optimism to hear. I do want to close. I know you're busy. I know you got a million things going on, but as an accomplished author and as someone I know who loves TV and films, what have you been doing these last 6 months to unwind? Anything good we should know about? So
I just discovered a show, Body of Proof. I really like crime dramas. I just finished rewatching all of Elementary and discovered, because Hulu recommended it for me, Body of Proof. It's a pretty good show. So
all
I'm
right,
having fun.
Body of Proof. That's all we're looking for is recommendations of 1, good crime shows, and 2, how to save democracy. And you always provide us both. So good to see you, Stacey. Always a pleasure.